Well, let's get back to Mr. Okoye on this one. Mr. Okoye, could you tell us, I know that you said the commission took a look at the entire process and introduced some additional personnel to see how they could make it a little less cumbersome. Is it possible to give us an idea in terms of when we may get the final results announced from the National Coalition Center?
Let me just say this in relation to some of the issues our colleague is raising from the Lagos angle.
Okay.
One of the things we have made, or one of the innovations we have introduced to guarantee the transparency of this particular process is that we made it mandatory that at the end of the sorting and counting of votes in each polling unit, that it is mandatory for the presiding officer to fill Form EC60E and paste the scores of the candidates in a conspicuous place at the polling unit. The implication, and then thereafter, the presiding officer is also mandated to give a copy of the scores of the candidates that has been entered in Form EC8A to the representatives or the party agents of all the political parties feeding candidates in a particular election and who have been accredited. The implication is that a political party that is proactive and a political party that has a situation room, we know the results from all the polling units where elections took place. And we'll also know the polling units where elections did not take place. So it is possible for even political parties to know of the results of an election even before the Independent National Electoral Commission. The second thing is that he also alluded to the issue of trust deficit in our electoral process, which my colleague here also alluded to. Ordinarily, the Independent National Electoral Commission would have preferred a duality of process, a process that enables us to do the manual collation of results of an election or manual collation of the scores of candidates, and also have electronic collation and electronic transmission of results. This will make it possible for us to know if anything untoward is going on. I believe that if in collating the local government results, a collation officer at the local government is put under pressure by a political party or by politicians, it becomes an exercise in futility, because if you are trying to prevent a collation officer from announcing the results, the National Collation Center in the Federal Capital Territory will have had an electronic copy of that particular result. So whatever you do becomes an exercise in futility. If you tear the manually collated results, it becomes of no use, because the electronic copy of that particular result will have been transmitted to the National Collation Center. So I believe that as we move forward in our electoral process, as we gain the confidence of the ordinary people of this country, it will be possible for us to combine both the manual transmission and the electronic transmission and have a duality that serves the Nigerian people better. But I think that we will still get there. But the process we are adopting now, yes, it is cumbersome, but it is still very, very transparent. We asked every registered political party in Nigeria to forward the list and the names, specimen signature, and photographs of all their party agents for purposes of accreditation. So many of them did not do that. So in each level, at each level, the political parties are represented. So there is no issue of manipulation. There is no issue of the process being opaque. What is an issue is that there's some level of desperation within the political space that is making people to get nervous. But I believe that everything is transparent and we will continue in that procedure. It is cumbersome, it is laborious, but that is the procedure that is in the law. And that is the procedure we will adopt until we conclude this particular process. But I assure you that the moment we get the result, the collated result from any state, we will announce it. We are not going to wait until we get all the results from all the states before we begin announcement. At 11 o'clock this morning, I am sure that we will begin the announcement of results of the presidential election.
Okay, we'll come back to this in a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back to the verdict, and continuing awaiting results, the big results, as it will start by 11, as INEC has announced. And so whichever results from states, whichever one comes in, they will announce it, as INEC has said. So this time they're not going to wait for all of them to come in before they announce that. But Mr. Koye, let me just follow up on what you said before I get Mr. Vincent to respond to it. There are reports circulating, some journalists say that in Lagos, in one of those collation centers, that the army barred them from getting in to also witness collation processes. Is that the case? And what's supposed to be the normal procedure if that happened?
For each stage of the collation process, the political parties forwarded the list of their agents who will witness that particular collation. What we have noticed is that some of the political parties do not really train their party agents well and do not align them in sequence in relation to the various areas that results are going to be collected. The agents at the polling unit, for instance, if you have a registration area with 21 polling units, what should happen is that at the conclusion of election in the 21 polling units, all the party agents in those 21 polling units are supposed to collect the duplicate copies of the results that have been given to them and go and hand over to their party agent who has been accredited for the registration area collation. But sometimes the party agents at the polling unit will all head to the registration area collation center and want to gain access into that particular collation center when they have not been accredited for that particular collation center. So that creates confusion. The point I'm making is that for each stage, for those who are going to be party agents at the level of the polling units have been accredited, the political parties also have submitted a different list of those who are going to be at the registration area collation centers. They have also submitted a different list of those who are going to be at the local government collation center. And they have submitted a different list of those who are going to be at the state collation center. At the national collation center now, the party agents who were at the state collation center will not be at the national collation center, because the party agents that have been accredited for the National Collation Center are already sitting down at the National Collation Center awaiting the results to come in. So I think that sometimes it is the fault of the political parties and their agents not knowing the limits of their powers and the limits of where they can go to and where they cannot go to. Now, every accredited agent is entitled to be at the collation center. Nobody is supposed to prevent anybody from being at the collation center. If any political party that has its agent duly accredited for each of these centers that I have enumerated, and the person is prevented from gaining entrance, the person has a number to call, and the national commissioner supervising that particular state will intervene immediately and make sure that it is rectified. If it is not, then the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission will intervene and make sure that the right thing is done. The process we are running is very, very transparent, and nobody is supposed to be prevented from gaining access to witness this particular aspect, a particular aspect of the collation process.
Well, Mr. Amadi, one of the things that comes to mind is the possible question of trust in this cumbersome experience. What's your take on that?
Yeah, you wouldn't blame Nigerians if they have trust issues with the various actors in the value chain whether it's for the EMB, for the security operatives, or even for the political actors themselves. You wouldn't blame them because over the years, these institutions and actors have shown that the actions has not imbibed confidence in the Nigerian voter. Up until 2015, you had an EMB, that is the INEC, whose actions was to be charitable, not anything that anybody could want to be associated with. You had an EMB that conducted an election in 2007, who's the beneficiary of which rejected it in his first statement. That's the late President Omar Musa Yar'Adua. That led to the institution of several committees to reform that institution. Now, from 2011, the appointment of the former INEC chairman, Tahiru Jega, led to some level of confidence that something was about to give. And then the 2015 election also started restoring back confidence in the EMB to the extent that an election was conducted and an unprecedented voting out of an incumbent happened. So from 2015 to date, the EMB has been taking actions to engender trust. And we are seeing it happen here. Of course, there was the postponement and the various fake news around why it was postponed and all that. But we are beginning to see, with the patterns of results, what is happening in Kwara State, what is happening in Edo State, what is happening the results are showing that actually, and if you look at the turnout, the massive turnout, which people has been reported, although we don't have actual figures now because it's still turning in, but observers, reporters, journalists, media houses are reporting that there's an enthusiasm and massive turnout in many places. That tells you that perhaps the EMB is beginning to enjoy the confidence and trust of Nigerians. That is for the EMB. But what about the security agencies? Nigerians still do not trust security agencies. When you have reports of the militarization of soldiers who are supposed to stay aloof, stay afar, becoming involved in the fray, we saw what happened in Rivers State. The alleged reports of deaths occasioned by men wearing military fatigues. We are hearing about reports of policemen that are supposed to provide security for voters either being docile and allowing thugs to run amok